I'm gonna tell you that many times those exams that they sell, either HRCI or SHRM, it's nothing like the real exams. Okay,
I
sometimes
can say
it's
that hopefully that's the truth because I did that online testing that they have you do.
Oh God,
Mhm.
it's
From
terrible.
Oh, is that? Oh, I wanted to cry when I went
I know.
through that because
I got a
when I
48.
got well, my lowest
again.
in one category was like 48, but I think I got like
Oh,
65 or 70. And I thought, well, I guess there's no place to go but up
yeah.
because
I
there
mean,
were so many things in there that I don't think I've ever even heard of some of the
Mm-mm.
words.
you know what? Think
And
about that. Think about that. I've been teaching, the combo class for the HRCI exams and for the SHRM, and I had so many people passing with no problems. So many people. That should make you feel
well,
good.
that it did because after I took it, and I keep hearing it on all of your recordings since I started listening to you, is
Mhm.
don't get stressed about the exams. Don't get
Mm.
stressed about the quizzes that they have out there.
I know.
And
I don't like them because sometimes people get discouraged and they feel like, oh, I'm not learning anything. And then I do a one-on-one session and they know all the material, but then the next day they said, I took an exam and I got 40 something or 50 something, and then they get discouraged, and that's it. And then the following day they're gonna take the exam and they're gonna be so discouraged. That's why I hate them. Okay, let's see. We got Heather, we got
Hello.
Karen. Hi, we got Karen Wolf and Karen Douglas, Igneda Lasso, and Saida Ruiz. And somebody just sent me a message. I will do my best to stay on today's. Okay. Okay. Let me say no problem. Okay, let's see. We got, oh, there you go. I was just responding to you, Susie, with saying no problem. There you are. Okay, what time is it? It is 7:01. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so let's see how many people I have. I think I have 2 people for the SHRM class. I think that's Carol and Farron. I think everybody else is for HRCI exams. Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so what I have for HRCI, for PHR and SPHR, we'll review some of the unions, some of the unions topics. We're going to review employee relations topics with no unions, and we'll review some of the things that we covered so far this week with talent planning and acquisition. With SHRM, I have a lot of total rewards that we cover. We cover some learning and development, total rewards, and then the day before yesterday, we cover a lot about globalization. So we have a good combination. So I think I'm gonna start. Ooh, how could I not put this for the SHRM? So this is good because you are all going to learn from each other, from each other's class. Let me just put over here something that I forgot. How could I forget about this important thing? Okay. Let's see. Oh, I had already. Yeah, I had it already. Okay, great. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with something easy. Something that a lot of you from HRCI know this, and we just covered this with the SHRM growth. This is very simple, but we tend to see this a lot on the exam, okay? So what are dual career ladders? Who wants to answer that? Dual career ladders.
I can start, Olga.
Thank you, Karen. Yes.
All right, so dual career ladders, you still have your main ladder for people that want to go up a management path, but the other ladder would be job specific. So for example, accounting. They would start as an accounting clerk and go through all the different levels and eventually become a controller or something and never have to step over to management. They can remain in their field of choice.
Very good. What's the reason, Karen, that some companies will provide these dual career ladders, these two ladders, a management and non-management. What's the purpose behind of offering this non-management ladder?
Well, one is internal growth, obviously, and retention of the associates or your
There you go.
people.
Excellent. Very good. Exactly. We want to retain this candidate, right? We don't want them to go either into management, or we don't want them to even end up going to another company. They want to have an opportunity to move up and make more money, you know, but then maybe they're stuck in their position because there's no a higher level on what they're doing. And that's why some companies, this is not something that is mandated for all the companies to do. Some companies will choose to create, in addition to the management ladder, a non-management ladder so they can stay there. Like Karen said, we want them to grow, absolutely, but we also want to keep them. We want to retain them so they don't end up leaving us. Excellent. Very good. Let's talk about, who can tell me, let's start with the difference between decertification and deauthorization. I want somebody to explain very, very specifically, tell me. Pretend that I don't know anything about unions. So tell me the difference between decertification and deauthorization. What's the difference, and when can we do one and when can we do the other one? So this is about unions.
I can take that one if you want.
Thank you, Heather. Yes.
Okay, so decertification is something that the people in the union can vote on after the union has been there for, before they've been there at least 12 months, but it's before a contract is set in place. So it can be like up to 30 days before a new contract takes place or something like that. And it's a vote that the union members decide to not have the union anymore.
Excellent.
The deauthorization can take place anytime while the union is in place. And basically what that does is it just allows the union to remain in place, but the employees don't have to pay the dues or anything of that like that. Excellent.
Very good. So decertification, we get rid of the union, or the employees, we cannot do anything. The employees will get rid of the union completely. It cannot be done within the first 12 months and cannot be done when the contract is already in place. And the deauthorization is the one that they can do within the first 12 months, and they can do every year while the contract is in place. But with the deauthorization, the employees are not going to go to the union. The employees are going to, if they win the authorization election, they don't have to pay union dues. Okay, very good. I'm going to go to Sharm now. I want somebody from Sharm to tell me the difference between let's say, I was gonna go in outsourcing and offshoring, but I wanna go into the difference between offshoring and onshoring. So this will be new for the HRCI participants, because we don't cover onshoring or homeshoring. We usually cover outsourcing and offshoring. But HRCI group, now I'm gonna present a couple of new words for you, so take notes of this. So I wanna hear the difference between offshoring and onshoring, that also can be called homeshoring. Interesting.
Homeshoring?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Onshoring, on, like being on, can also be called, it's also known as homeshoring. Interesting. Versus offshoring, which is what we usually cover with HRCI. So let's see. Either
I can take that one,
Carol.
Alga.
Okay, thank you, Carol. Yes.
Okay. Offshoring is when we relocate a process or a piece of our business to another country, like overseas, someplace outside of the United States. And the onshoring or homeshoring is a relocation of our business, maybe to another location, but within the country, possibly something we would do locating nearby. Like for instance, can't remember if this was the example you used with like Mexico.
Okay, hold on right there, Carol.
Or is that one near shoring?
Correct. So let's go ahead and add one more. Let's go ahead and add one more
Okay.
topic. You did good with offshoring. Now, I'm going to add one more topic, which is nearshoring, which is another topic that we
Okay.
don't cover with HRCI. So we got nearshoring and onshoring, also known as homeshoring. So
It's just a different piece in the country where it might be a cheaper, more economic way for us to do business,
Yes,
like
yes.
versus California versus a location there in North Carolina.
Or it could be also another location, maybe in the same city, but you're moving into a smaller location because you want to
Okay.
reduce the cost. Okay. So
Or
that
work
would
from
be,
home.
it's all work from home as well. Okay, exactly. Okay. So let's go back. So we got offshoring, right? We're moving a process, a function overseas. And this is going to be done also for cost. We want to lower the cost, the labor cost, you know, so we can pay cheaper wages. We want to have maybe, we want to move the process, the function to another country where we may be able to find the raw materials cheaper. So it's always for cost, but that's offshoring. We're moving the function of a particular process of the organization overseas, offshore. Versus onshoring, we're moving our location, okay, to another location, like Carol said, maybe to another city, to another state, or maybe within the same city or within the same state, but we're going to be moving that location to maybe a lower cost building. Maybe we want to move to a smaller building, you know, a building that is not going to cost us so much money. So that is onshoring. We're just moving our process, our production, our functions to another building where we're going to be paying less money. Or remember that onshoring can also be called homeshoring. Or we find that, hey, our employees can do the job from home. So instead of having this big building with all the employees, they can actually do the job from home. So that is onshoring or homeshoring. Now versus, now go Carol, nearshoring.
That's where part of the business is moved to Mexico or Canada.
Correct, correct. So instead of
Which may have
sending,
lower labor costs or lower material costs in those countries.
correct, correct.
Okay.
But instead of sending that process or that function far, far away, like all the way to India, hold on, imagine every time you have to fly to India and the communication and everything all the way to India. Well, can we take advantage of the lower wages and the cost lower of the raw materials, maybe from Mexico, you know, maybe from Canada. So when we have to go there, we don't have to spend a lot of money going all the way to the other side of the world. Okay, so that's nearshoring. Two new concepts that we don't cover on HRCI. Okay, but now that you have it, now you know offshoring, onshoring, also known as homeshoring, and now we know also nearshoring. Excellent, very good. Now let me have somebody from the other group explain to us the difference between what we just covered and outsourcing. I want to hear what is outsourcing, the reason why we will outsource a particular function, a particular process, why, you know, we outsource, what can we outsource, why we shouldn't outsource, and maybe the first step and the last step of the outsourcing process. Who wants to take that? Okay.
I can take it.
Is that Heather? Yeah, very good, Heather.
Yes. All right. So outsourcing is when you take either you know, a business function or a process to a third party because they specialize in it. It also helps you to share the risk. Some of the reasons that you might do outsourcing would be, again, because of the cheaper labor and also cheaper raw material, that kind of a thing. However, the first thing that you would need to do is kind of set, you know, do a needs analysis, set the budget and the end goal. And then you would also send out requests for proposals. You would review those. maybe do some negotiation depending on how that came out. And then of course, after that, you'll implement it. And then after that, you'll evaluate it and then make any revisions or renegotiate contract or whatever at the end.
Excellent. Very good. Now, Heather, what will be some things that we could outsource and something that as a rule we should not outsource?
Well, you should never outsource anything that's part of the strategic planning process or as part of the strategy.
Yep.
Some things like for HR that you could outsource would be like your FMLA process or your payroll or something like that.
Yep.
I know that at our work, we do some powder coating that we outsource because it's not a major part of our business.
Excellent. One more thing. What is this that some companies, when you outsource, these companies who have this expertise, what does it mean when they say that these companies can provide you economies of scale? What are they talking about? That this company, if you outsource to the right company, they can provide you economies of scale. What is that?
That means that it's, they do it so much and they're such an expert at it that it just makes more sense for the business to have them do it because it would cost you more as a business to do it yourself.
Yep, exactly. They can do this more effectively than us and they can do it more efficiently than us. So at a lower cost, better than us and at a lower cost. So that's what it means when they say they can provide you economies of scale. Excellent, very good. Okay, can somebody tell me what is constructive discharge? It's a wrongful termination called constructive discharge. What is that?
I can take it.
And Olga?
Thank you. Zaida? Yeah.
Yes, the constructive discharge is when you make somebody's work environment so intolerable that the
Yep.
person decides to quit.
Excellent. Very good. Excellent. Constructive discharge. Not to be confused ever, constructive discharge, not to be confused with a couple of other terms that I want to bring up. What is employment at will doctrine? Employment at will doctrine, also known as the mutuality doctrine.
I can take that, Elga.
Thank you, Ruby.
So employment at will is where the employer can terminate the employee with or without a cause, as long as it does not interfere with anything that pertains to Title VII.
Mm-hmm.
And the employee can terminate his or her employment with or without a cause.
Correct. That's why it's called the mutuality doctrine. Either the employer or the employee can end that relationship without any notice, without any reason. But like Ruby said, it doesn't mean that we can go ahead and terminate somebody and we're violating like Title VII. Oh, let's go ahead and terminate this person because I don't like their race, color, religion, national origin, disability, age, or anything like that. And we can say, well, this is employment at will, so I can do whatever I want and terminate it. No, you cannot terminate it. Those are exceptions. You know, you cannot terminate an employee, you know, also because they are engaging in a protected activity. Like you cannot terminate an employee because they filed a workers' compensation claim, because they took FMLA, because they contact the EOC and file a charge of discrimination. No. Because they went to jury duty. No. You cannot terminate. Those are exceptions to the employment at will. Very good. What about the difference between employment at will and what is this? Right to work states. Sometimes people get confused with employment at will versus right to work states. Right to work states. Oh, we just got some more people here. Didn't notice.
The right to work state would be the opposite of a forced union state, where those states have more freedom, their employees have more freedom as to whether or not they want to join a union.
Okay, so in the right to work state, you're right. This is the opposite of the forced unionism state. In those right to work states, employees have the right to choose if they want to join the union or if they don't want to join the union, if they want to pay union dues or if they don't want to pay union dues. Hey, by the way, how do we call those unions that we have in the right to work states?
Open shops.
Thank you. Open shops. Open shop. That's how we call those unions that we have in the right to work states. Excellent. Very good. Let me go back to Charm. And I'm going to say HRCI people. Take notes of this, okay? Okay, let's talk about different types of approaches that organizations who are global and that they have subsidiaries in other countries they may use, okay? I'm looking for 4 different approaches. I'm looking for one that is called ethnocentric, polycentric, regiocentric, and geocentric, okay? This, believe it or not, this used to be in the SPHR in the past, but now this is not showing on the SPHR. They're not putting anything that is international on the SPHR, but it will be on the GPHR, on the global. But you still find this on the SHRM SCP, okay? So let's talk about what is ethnocentric, polycentric, regiocentric, and geocentric. So let's start with ethnocentric. Who would like to take this?
I'll do it.
Thank you, Farron. Yes.
Okay, ethnocentric is where they think that they are better than everyone else. They do things their own way.
Yep.
You have headquarters in like the United States and subsidiaries in Spain and Germany,
Yep.
but everything comes from the top, from headquarters. So they determine or decide management, policy, protocol. I looked up an example the other day and it said Disney. So like Disney controls everything to all the other like Disneys in different countries,
Beautiful.
regardless
Yep.
of, like, an example was like in France, they drink a lot, but you can't drink specific things in Disney. So
Excellent. Beautiful. Very good. So remember, ethnocentric. Just think about the word ethnocentric has an H right there, ETH. And I always say ETH. So there's an H right there. Just associate that with headquarters. Everything, you know, the tight control comes from the headquarters. Very good. Very good, Farron. How about, that was ethnocentric approach. How about the polycentric approach? Polycentric.
I'll do that one. So there's there's headquarters in the United States and subsidiaries like in different countries like Brazil, Spain, and Germany.
Yep.
But the headquarters doesn't mandate or require how those subsidiaries operate. They just kind of leave them alone as long as they're making a profit.
Perfect. Excellent. Well, that was polycentric. Poly means many, poly, many. So they're all going to be managing differently according to each location. And like Farron said, the headquarters is going to leave them alone as long as they're making profit. How about regiocentric? Regiocentric.
So regiocentric is, like it says, it's regions. So it's similar regions that have maybe similar marketing.
Yep.
So like Brazil and Peru might be managed by like a South American region.
Yep. Excellent. Very good. Last but not least, geocentric.
Geocentric is where the headquarters and subsidiaries just hire whoever, as long as they're hiring the right people. They make like a network.
Yep.
The management looks at opportunities on a global scale of how they can conduct business, as long as they're just communicating.
Yep. So they're all working together. Beautiful. Excellent. Okay. This is usually on the SHRM SCP. And I know that, Farron, I think that you're the one going for the SHRM SCP, correct?
Yes.
But this is also good for everybody to know. Excellent. Okay, let me go to the other side. Okay, I want somebody to tell me, I want somebody to explain to me the Older Workers Benefit Protection Act. What are we talking about with the Older Workers Benefit Protection Act?
I can do that one, Elga.
Thank you, Carol. Yeah.
That is where if a company is going to have a mass layoff or a cutback of some sort, where they can approach employees that are age 40 or older
Yep.
and offer them some type of incentive to take an early retirement package.
Yep.
If they're going to approach one person, they have, I believe, 21 days. And if it's more than one, it's 45 days. And they have to
Correct.
give, I think, a 60-day notice prior to, is there a 60-day notice?
Hold on.
What am I thinking with the 60
Because
days?
you're thinking about the WARN Act. You're going,
Oh, yes, that's
you're
right.
making
Yep,
a
that's right.
combination of all the workers
Okay.
with the WARN. Okay. So
Okay.
far you said exactly the right thing.
Okay.
One more
Okay.
thing though is remember, what about once these people sign this waiver? Because this is what it is. It's a waiver because the Older Workers Benefit Protection Act is an amendment to the Age Discrimination Employment Act that allow us to go ahead and approach these individuals who are over 40. And it doesn't mean that we're discriminating them as long as we are offering this as voluntary, not coercing the employees that if you don't accept it, you're going to be terminated. No, this is totally voluntary. So if they sign this waiver, they are not going to be able to come back and say that we discriminated them because of their age. So once they sign this, Carol, once they sign this waiver, how many more days they have to revoke it?
They have 7 days after they sign it.
7 more days.
change
And
their
always
mind.
remember, always remember that they're going to be getting something, some kind of incentive, something in addition to what they are already entitled for. Okay. Let's see, something simple. Everybody should know this. We just covered this yesterday with Sharm, but we already covered this with HRCI group. So who can tell me what is or what does PESTL stands for? What is PESTL and what does it stand for? PESTL, P-E-S-T-L-E.
I can take that one.
Thank you. Who
Go
was that,
ahead.
Heather? Okay.
I can, but if somebody else.
Go ahead, Heather.
Ruby or
ahead.
Heather?
Okay, PESTL is it's a way of scanning the environment, and it's a tool for external purposes. It stands for political, economic, social, technological, or technology, legal, and environmental.
Excellent, beautiful. And she's absolutely right, okay? Heather is absolutely right. This is a tool that we use to scan only the external environment, because listen to those factors. All the factors that she mentioned are external factors: political, economical, social, technological, legal, and environmental. We always see this on the exams, okay? PESTL. Okay, let me go to the other side. Okay, who can tell me the difference between, very simple, we're still covering some things for unions. Who can tell me the difference between mediation and arbitration? And please keep in mind that in the SHRM exams, sometimes you may see mediation as conciliation, but it will be the same thing, okay? Mediation, conciliation will be the same thing. So what's the difference between mediation and arbitration? Who wants that? Is that Lindsay?
Oh, it's you probably hear my dog, but
Well, no.
I can take it, sure.
I just saw your name kind of like circle, you know, so I was like, okay, I think she wants to talk.
My dog is begging to come into the office. Mediation is when that third party is trying to come to a conclusion from both parties, and it is non-legally binding, whereas arbitration is it's kind of the same thing, but what they decide on at the end is legally binding.
Correct.
Correct? Okay.
Yep. So arbitration, you said arbitration, right? That's the one that is legally binding.
Correct.
Correct. Arbitration is legally binding. Okay, let's talk about what is the difference. So this will be for sure, but some of you already know too. What's the difference with, what is this that, number one, hold on. I'm gonna go through so many things. Let's take one step at a time. What is the objective of a company having a sound wage strategy? Why? What's the purpose for a company to have a good strategy for total rewards? What is the objective?
Attract and retain talent.
Thank you. Exactly. We want to attract and retain talent. Exactly.